Welcome back to Living in Coastal Delaware. Today we are bringing you our local market update for the month of April and what we've seen thus far this year, just to give you a little bit better idea if you are looking to buy or sell here in Coastal Delaware, what it may look like for you, and just some tips for success to help make sure that you are looking at the correct things and operating the correct way in order to either get your offer accepted or get your home sold for top dollar. For those of you that are just tuning in for the first time, we put out content each and every week discussing what it's like to live, eat, breathe, sleep, and play right here in Coastal Delaware. So if that's something that you would like to see some more of, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button down below and smash the notification bell next to it just so you can stay in the loop each week when we go live with new content. And then if you are someone that's looking to buy or sell real estate here in Coastal Delaware, that's what we help you with every single day, and we would love the opportunity to work with you. So all our information is down below in the description and here on the screen. We've also got a link to our Facebook group down in the description if you'd like to join that, just to interact a little bit more and get you some more local information on a more daily basis versus these weekly videos that we put out. So let's dive into the content here and just take a look at really what's going on in the market, what you can expect, and tips for success for both buyers and sellers. So currently here in the Coastal Delaware market, we are seeing homes sit on the market for an average of about 23 days. So that's only 3 weeks time, which is not a ton of time. I understand, like we've mentioned in a bunch of other videos, I understand that just a year or two ago, we were seeing homes sell in the first 24 to 48 hours, which is still the case in some instances. But for the most part, we're seeing homes take about 3 weeks to sell. And the big thing there being pricing. If homes are priced correctly, they're typically moving a lot faster than homes that are taking a chance at a certain price or may just be slightly overpriced. Those homes do sit a little bit longer. However, the current market, we are still seeing, as of today's April 18th. So as of April 18th, we are still seeing very low inventory. We're still seeing a lot of active buyers in the market looking for homes. And what that has caused is that we are seeing a lot of multiple offers in many different situations. So you're not likely the only offer in hand that the seller is seeing unless that home has been on the market for a little while. More than likely, you are not the only offer. And what that means for you is that you just need to keep that in mind as you're crafting your offer. And there's just some different things that you can do with your offer when you're crafting it up in order to appear stronger to the seller while still protecting yourself as the buyer. So when we're looking at those items and some of the things that I've done with my clients to help set them up for success, just depends. What does the seller need? Do they need a certain closing date? Is there some terms that work better for them than what the other folks are offering? These are all questions that you can ask and make sure that your best foot is forward. So as a buyer in this current market, it still holds true that you need to start with your best offer. There may not be a chance for negotiation, particularly if you're going against other offers. You need to consider that this could be your only shot. So if that home is the home that you want, you just need to make sure that you're crafting the absolute strongest offer that you can, whether that be through less contingencies, the price, a number of different ways you can craft that. I'm happy to work with you and give you a little bit of those nuances as to how you can craft your offer to make it stronger in the eyes of the seller. But just know that you do need to start with your best foot forward, and that it's still holding true even a year later, that you may not be the only offer that the seller has in hand. So just starting with your best offer is absolutely imperative. If the home that you're looking at is the one that you want to close on, it makes sense that you need to start out strong. As I mentioned before, we are starting to see a lot more multiple offer situations come about. Again, the big thing there being the pricing of the home. If the home is perceived as priced correctly by the market, there's going to be multiple offers. If it's perceived as overpriced for the market, you're likely going to see that home sit on the market for a little bit longer. So if you do see a home that has been sitting for a little bit longer, that may be your opportunity to get it for a better price and maybe get better terms as a buyer. Whereas something that is priced correctly will likely move quicker, and the seller will be the one getting better terms there. So if you've struck out a couple times with offers, one thing to consider is find a home that's been sitting for a little bit longer, and you may find a seller that has a little bit more wiggle room in their negotiation, and you can probably get better terms that way as a buyer than you could with a home that just hit the market. Another thing to consider as a buyer is the speed to see the home and the speed to write your offer. If a home has just hit the market and it's perceived as correctly priced, you probably need to get in that home the first weekend it's on the market. There's likely not going to be a lot of time between when that home hits the market and when it goes under contract. So if you're someone that's like, oh, I'll wait 2 or 3 weeks to get down there, if you're not from Delaware, if I'll wait 2 or 3 weeks before I go see that home, you likely may not have that as an option anymore. I know through the winter time, we certainly had that as an option as things kind of came to a screeching halt almost through November and December and even the first half of January. But really, things have heated back up again. We're starting to see a lot more activity in the market, especially as spring is fully in bloom now. We are seeing a lot more buyers actively looking for homes and wanting to be in those homes before the summertime. So you just need to consider the speed there, in that if you see a home that checks every box and you think, from online it looks great, you probably need to be down here looking at that home the first weekend it goes live on the market. And if you don't, you likely will miss that home at this point. If it's priced correctly, you're not going to see, a home that is priced correctly sitting around for very long, just because there are a number of active buyers in the market and you likely are not the only one looking for that particular style home. There's likely other buyers that are also looking for that style. So just consider that, as you're trying to figure out your plans to go look at homes and trying to set up appointments with your real estate agent. If it's not us, just know that the speed there is important. If you can't get here, if you're not in Delaware full time, your agent can likely go out and take some video. I know we do it all the time for clients. We do some virtual walkthroughs and some video meetings where we meet on FaceTime or Zoom, and we can actually walk through the home with you that way. Obviously, it's not the same as being there and touching the home yourself, but it is an option if you are not here local to the area and you are looking to relocate to the area. Sometimes video may be the best case that you have, is if a home checks every box and it's priced correctly. You don't want to miss out on it. Now, as we flip the script a little bit and we look at the seller side, just some things to consider as a seller in order to make sure that you are getting top dollar for your home. One thing to consider is that it absolutely needs to be priced correctly. As we just mentioned, if it is not priced correctly, it will likely sit on the market, and you don't want your home becoming stale on the market and sitting forever, and then it develops a stigma of, oh, what's wrong with it? Even if it's just a price thing, buyers a lot of times when they see something that's been sitting for a while will say, oh, there's something wrong with that house because it's been on the market for 90 days and no one's written an offer on it. Again, if it's just price, that's not a huge deal, but you are shooting yourself in the foot by overpricing it from the start. If you price it correctly from the start, you will likely end up with multiple offers and get more favorable terms than you would if it was overpriced and sits. So as things develop through the market, again, pricing correctly is always important. Right now, it is very important with multiple active buyers in the market. You're just looking at a situation where you could end up with multiple offers if you price it correctly, and you could end up sitting on the market and becoming stale on the market if you do not price it correctly, which you absolutely do not want to do. That'll lead to price reductions, and ultimately you'll likely sell it for less money than you would have if you priced it correctly from the start. Number two, we need to declutter and depersonalize the home before we list it. This is going to be taking down any pictures of you, your family, your friends, all that kind of stuff. Any personal pictures, take those down. We want to have the buyer envision themselves in the home. And if all they see are pictures of you, your friends, your family, that kind of stuff, they're picturing you in the home and not themselves. We don't want that. We want the buyer to be able to envision themselves living there. And part of that is going to be, we don't want them thinking, oh, this is somebody else's house. We want them thinking this is our house. So taking down a lot of those personal pictures, decluttering the home. So I understand, you may have a stack of mail or something off to the side, or maybe you've got extra furniture because it fits the way you guys live your lifestyle. A lot of that stuff is all fine and dandy, but as we're getting ready to list, it just makes the home flow a lot better if we remove some of those items, and it'll make the home feel bigger to the buyer and more spacious to the buyer, which ultimately most buyers want. So just consider decluttering and depersonalizing the home just to, again, make it feel like the buyer is able to see themselves living there. The final thing to consider as a seller is going to be staging your home. Staging can be the difference between selling for top dollar and not selling for top dollar. Staging definitely makes a difference in the listing price, and it definitely helps your home stand out, whether it's on the internet through the pictures or when buyers walk in the door. A properly staged home just stands apart from homes that are, traditionally decorated and lived in. So if you are not living in your home, a lot of times staging does require you to not be living there anymore because they don't want that furniture getting used. But staging your home, if it's an option for you, can make the absolute world of difference in the sales price. Staged homes often sell for much more money than non-staged homes, and that's just because the person who is staging it likely has their pulse on the current trends of the market and what buyers are looking for, and it can make, again, the absolute world of difference for buyers when they walk in and they see it staged and it's got all the correct fixtures for what's on trend and all that kind of stuff. And it just makes a big difference in the eyes of the buyer, which ultimately leads to more potential offers and a higher sales price in the end. So considering staging is an absolute important thing to consider. Again, I know it's got a cost associated with it, but a lot of times the cost associated is in small in comparison to what your net gain is on the sales price side. That's a wrap on our video today on what's going on in the market and just some general tips for buyers and sellers here in Coastal Delaware. If you are considering making a move to the area, we would love the opportunity to work with you. So all our information, again, is down below in the description and here on the screen. And if you are looking for some more content on what it's like to live, eat, breathe, sleep, and play, and the real estate market here in Coastal Delaware, that's what we do every single week. We put out new content every Wednesday. So do us a favor, hit the subscribe button down below, smash that notification bell next to it, just so you can stay in the loop each week when we go live with new content. Look forward to seeing you guys next time. Peace.